The employees ridiculed her, the supervisor ordered her to exit, and a circle of affluent socialites scoffed at her. But then the glass doors swung open and her husband stepped inside. Not merely an ordinary man. The wealthy magnate of the complete Jade Empire, exuding authority with every step and intensity in his gaze. He remained largely silent. There was no obligation for him to do so. From that moment forward, those who dared to underestimate her were about to discover precisely who she was and the true cost of their arrogance. "Is that you, Lucas?" she murmured softly, barely able to trust what she was seeing. Lucas King. Her spouse. Or, more precisely, the famously reclusive billionaire tycoon believed to be involved in a myriad of industries from technology to real estate, who also happened to be the man she had fallen in love with and wed in a discreet ceremony that hardly anyone was aware of. In that fleeting moment, she felt a clash of relief and embarrassment within her. She had kept her visit to Jade Pavilion a secret from Lucas. She thought he was away on business overseas. Yet here he was, surveying the shop with keen eyes that overlooked no detail. As those eyes found her, they instantly became gentle. "Nina," Lucas murmured, his voice soft yet resonant in the quiet store. Iris Lane's jaw dropped in disbelief. Diana White inhaled sharply, and the staff appeared to be taken aback as a whole. He was instantly recognized by many. Meet Lucas King, the successor to the King Corporation, the driving force behind the parent group of Jade Pavilion. Carl appeared as though he had just endured a painful blow to his foot. He wielded a quivering bow. "Mr. King, we were unaware of your visit today." Lucas hardly paid any attention to Carl. He approached Nina in 2 swift strides, his hand lightly grazing her cheek as if seeking reassurance that she truly existed in that moment. "Are you okay?" he inquired softly, disregarding the others around him. Nina fought to maintain her composure even as tears threatened to spill from the corners of her eyes. "Indeed, it's merely a matter of miscommunication. Nothing significant." Silence. His eyes darted toward Iris, who stood motionless by a display case, and then to Diana White, whose expression was one of shock. He caught sight of Mir Mason and offered a subtle nod of acknowledgement. "Mason? Sir King?" Mr. Mason responded, inclining his head slightly in a gesture of respect. Carl attempted to move in closer, clearly aiming to mitigate the situation. Yet Lucas held him with a gaze so intense it seemed capable of shaping metal. "I understand my wife may have had a negative experience here, is that true?" Carl's lips parted and shut, yet no sound escaped them. Nina could almost visualize the beads of sweat gathering on his forehead. Lucas faced Mr. Mason. "Share the details of the event with me." Mr. Mason addressed the room with a composed and deliberate demeanor. It seemed to me that the staff overlooked Mrs. King's request. They shoved her toward the least expensive items with a lack of courtesy, attempted to dismiss her, and then embarrassed her in front of fellow shoppers. I reached the scene just in time to witness the concluding act, although I have a feeling it had been unfolding for quite a while before my arrival. A collective gasp echoed among the group. Iris stepped back, nearly colliding with Diana. The vibrant facade she showcased just moments before disappeared. In the meantime, Carl's complexion was shifting to a deep shade of purple. "My apologies, I was unaware that she was your spouse." If I had been aware, Lucas's eyes ignited. "Is it really okay to mistreat customers you deem insignificant? Is that really your policy?" Carl gulped. "Absolutely not. However, we offer an exclusive program and the team prioritizes premium transactions. We adhere to the established protocol. Is it really considered standard practice to belittle a woman, prevent her from making her purchases, and then criticize her financial choices?" Lucas's voice was steady, yet a simmering anger lingered beneath the surface, thickening the atmosphere around him. Diana White, unwilling to keep quiet, cleared her throat and tried to muster a poised smile. "Mr. King, it seems there has been a mix-up. This woman, Mrs. King, as you mentioned, merely sought a more affordable option. We thought she..." Lucas raised a hand, stopping her in her tracks. "Your input wasn't requested." He confronted Carl once more. "Shut the store for the day. An internal investigation will be carried out. Anyone who harasses my wife or participates in humiliating her will face immediate termination." Carl's eyes grew as large as saucers. He scanned the surroundings with a sense of urgency, seeking assistance, yet found none forthcoming. Iris proved to be unhelpful. She slowly pulled back. Diana sealed her lips tightly. The other employees appeared too intimidated to voice their thoughts. Understanding that none of them would or could come to his aid, Carl decided to approach the situation from a different perspective. "We sincerely apologize. We are committed to doing whatever it takes to ensure that Mrs. King is satisfied. A complete reimbursement along with a complimentary upgrade to a pricier item. It was never our intention to cause any offense to someone of your standing. You disrespected my wife, not due to her appearance, but because you presumed she didn't deserve your attention. Lucas erupted. Don't demean her by pretending to be magnanimous at this point. Mason, you will take care of the remaining tasks. Indeed, Mr. King. Mr. Mason replied without hesitation, moving ahead. Carl, it's time for you to gather your things. Today marks your final day at Jade Pavilion. Carl's voice trembled. Absolutely not, that's not an option. This work sustains me. I have dedicated several years to this company. Show some compassion. Lucas dismissed him, moving nearer to Nina and resting a reassuring hand on the small of her back. I apologize for not getting here earlier. His voice was so gentle that it nearly brought tears to Nina's eyes once more. Diana White, grappling with the weight of it all, sought to reclaim her dignity. Mr. King, I was completely unaware. If I had realized she was your Lucas interrupted her. Your thoughts are of no concern to me. You took part in degrading a woman who had done nothing wrong to you. That's not a misinterpretation. That is an act of cruelty. Diana's complexion faded, yet before she could utter a word, Iris released a shaky laugh. We sincerely apologize. I didn't quite grasp that perhaps we crossed a line. We were just having a bit of fun, Mrs. King. Nina looked at Iris, then at Diana, her voice barely above a whisper. It didn't come across as teasing to me. Is that how you treat every unfamiliar face? If that's the case, I trust you understand how harsh it may come across to the person on the other side. Quiet enveloped the surroundings. The employees had shed their self-satisfied expressions. A few cast fleeting looks at Nina, their eyes betraying a touch of remorse. However, some of them, particularly those who had participated in ridiculing her, were flushed with embarrassment. The atmosphere in the store was thick with an almost palpable tension. Once again, Lucas faced Mr. Mason. It is essential that appropriate actions are taken against the staff involved in the harassment, whether that means disciplinary measures or termination of employment. As your guidelines prescribe, I look forward to receiving a written report by the end of the week. Certainly, Mr. King, Mr. Mason replied, inclining his head respectfully. I will take care of it myself. With a gentle hand, Lucas led Nina toward the exit. She observed the way the crowd parted as they made their way through. Employees nearly leaping aside. A silence trailed behind them, heavy and foreboding. She clutched the small shopping bag, the weight of Grandpa Gray's bracelet resting against her heart. Her thoughts spun wildly as she contemplated the profound shift that occurred the instant Lucas stepped into the scene. As soon as they stepped outside, Nina took a deep breath, attempting to dispel the whirlwind of feelings within her. She lifted her gaze to Lucas. What gave away my presence? She inquired, her voice quaking with the rush of adrenaline coursing through her veins. He gently swept a lock of hair away from her face. I discovered that you were intending to search for a present. I've heard that the staff at Jade Pavilion can occasionally be a bit unwelcoming to regular customers. I suspected you would show up here. I wanted to check in and see how you were doing. She offered a tentative smile. I was okay. Ultimately, I believe I reached that point in the end. Thank you for your presence. His brows furrowed in concentration. That situation should never have been yours to handle. If I had arrived earlier, do not hold yourself accountable. She spoke swiftly, intertwining her fingers with his. I never mentioned that I would be arriving here. I felt the urge to embark on a personal journey. Lucas released a slow breath. As long as you're safe. He cast a quick look at the store behind them where employees moved swiftly, shutting the doors ahead of schedule under Mr. Mason's firm guidance. Those employees will never treat you or anyone else that way again. Nina swallowed, caught in a delicate balance of relief and sorrow. It's reassuring to see them facing the consequences of their actions. However, it is an incredibly harmful environment. It's likely they picked it up from leaders who prioritized only substantial financial deals. Lucas gazed at her with a gentle warmth. It's not possible to resolve all issues in a single day. However, we can begin by ensuring that the areas I oversee treat individuals with respect and dignity. He led her away from the store, skillfully navigating through the bustling crowd as they exited the mall. The journey back was serene, with Nina nestled against Lucas in the plush back seat of a stylish black car provided by his personal chauffeur. She found herself endlessly rolling the freshly acquired jade beads between her fingers. Amidst the chaos, she felt a sense of satisfaction in having discovered the perfect present for Grandpa Gray. Nevertheless, she sensed that the day marked a pivotal moment in another way. Perhaps it was the first moment she truly sensed the divide between her reality and Lucas's. Her affection for him stemmed from his true self rather than his riches. Yet, she couldn't ignore the fact that being married to a billionaire brought its own set of intricacies. Individuals adoring him. Employees are apprehensive of him, or those seeking to exploit him. And, as she had just observed, it granted him the power to rectify injustices in an instant, yet it also eclipsed her efforts to assert her independence. She made an effort to keep that from dimming the sense of relief she experienced. Ultimately, a significant portion of the Jade Pavilion staff had exerted every effort to demean and undermine her. She would always remember how Lucas arrived just in time to lend a hand. Upon arriving at their destination, a sophisticated townhouse that seamlessly blended traditional design with contemporary simplicity, Nina and Lucas removed their shoes at the doorway. She released a deep breath of fatigue, settling into the soft embrace of the sofa. It's astonishing how impolite certain individuals can be, she whispered softly, leaning her head against the plush cushions. Lucas positioned himself next to her, gently wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Sadly, this is a frequent occurrence in those upscale boutiques. They pursue substantial commissions, notice a laid-back attire, and jump to conclusions. That doesn't justify it. She examined the bracelet once more, each bead intricately shaped like a lotus, embodying a symbol of purity. My affection for it remains strong, she remarked, allowing her gaze to rest on the delicate swirl within the jade. Grandpa Gray is going to be absolutely delighted. Lucas paused, his eyes fixed on her with a sense of wonder. He spoke gently, acknowledging how you continually put others first, despite the way they have mistreated you. Nina tilted her head, resting her cheek softly against his shoulder. I suppose I simply wish to ensure that my decisions in life reflect the lessons imparted by Grandpa. He often expressed that genuine sincerity and kindness reveal a person's true value. He placed a soft kiss on her hair. He nurtured you with care. A moment of stillness. Let's have dinner with him tomorrow. I'm eager to witness his response when he unwraps your present. Her lips curved into a smile, a gentle warmth blossoming within her chest. He might grumble about the expense, but I have no doubt he'll don it daily. Lucas's phone vibrated, prompting him to look at the display. Important communication from his corporate offices. He set it down with a weary breath. They can hold on. At this moment, all I desire is to be by your side. Nina momentarily shut her eyes, savoring the experience. She understood that regardless of how towering the barriers of affluence and prestige stood, Lucas continued to be her steadfast support. The individual who controlled the finances was introspective, compassionate, and unwaveringly defensive regarding her well-being. The following day, she joined Lucas at a more secluded spot in the Jade Pavilion, a place he had carefully chosen after the previous incident. She was curious to discover if there were any other items that would appeal to Grandpa Gray. A delicate jade pendant to bring a touch of luck. This time, the staff nearly contorted themselves at the faintest hint of her presence. She observed Lucas's subtle unease at their sycophancy, and she experienced it as well. The store manager was relentless in expressing regret over the unfortunate incident at the other branch. That evening, they journeyed away from the bustling city to the serene countryside home of Grandpa Gray. He was a sturdy figure, boasting a thick mane of white hair, eyes that glimmered with playful intent, and a laugh that resonated throughout the whole home. As soon as Nina entered, he wrapped her in a warm embrace. My dear girl, you seem weary. Are you putting in too much effort? She shook her head, a radiant smile brightening her expression. I'm doing well, Grandpa. Occupied, yet doing well. I have something for you. With heartfelt sincerity, Lucas welcomed Grandpa Gray, bringing a smile to Nina's face. Even with the secretive aspects of their union, Grandpa Gray was fully aware of all that transpired. The elderly gentleman let out a soft laugh upon spotting the small gift box. What might this be? Nina observed with a mix of anticipation and unease as he unveiled the jade prayer beads, a radiant smile spreading across his face. Ah, a lotus motif. Extremely considerate. This is rather sophisticated. Thank you, dear one. He slid it onto his wrist, flexing his hand to appreciate the subtle shimmer of polished jade. Nina sensed a warm rush as tears of joy welled up in her eyes. I'm pleased to hear that you enjoy it. It originates from Jade Pavilion. Exceptional artistry, Grandpa Gray's eyes focused intently. Please tell me you didn't spend a fortune on it. Nina chuckled gently. Not precisely, but let's just say it took a significant portion of my savings. Absolutely worthwhile, indeed. Absolutely splendid, Grandpa Gray proclaimed, giving her hand a gentle pat. He then shifted his gaze to Lucas, arching an eyebrow in curiosity. And you, young man, are you taking good care of my granddaughter? Lucas beamed. I put forth my utmost effort. She was the one who faced a challenging day, contending with some less than pleasant store employees. However, it has been addressed. Grandpa Gray's expression clouded with concern. Has anyone picked on my Nina? She dismissed it with a casual shrug. It's insignificant. Just a few superficial individuals who focus solely on money. The crucial point is that I obtained the bracelet for you, Grandpa Gray acknowledged. Nina noticed he seemed to mentally bookmark the topic for a later conversation. The evening unfolded with delightful dialogue and delicious fare. Friends and family stopping in for an early celebration. She absorbed their lively conversation about the party plans, the grand dinner, and all the friends that Grandpa Gray had invited. It filled her with warmth, a gentle reminder that wealth wasn't the sole measure of happiness. What truly held significance were authentic connections and love. In the meantime, Lucas quietly answered a call, slipping out onto the porch. She caught fragments of a serious discussion. Indeed, he was urging to collect the information. I desire to see all individuals who disrespect customers removed from the organization. Jade Pavilion embodies a commitment to excellence which extends to our interactions with others. There will be no exceptions. Nina turned and left, allowing him to take care of it on his own. A wave of appreciation washed over her, knowing he was willing to embrace a significant transformation. Perhaps the next time a woman entered dressed simply, no one would sneer at her or presume she was unworthy of respect. With Grandpa Gray's birthday drawing near, Nina busied herself with the last touches of the party preparations. Despite Lucas maintaining a discreet presence in public with only a handful aware of his marriage, they both decided to participate in the celebration openly without any need for concealment. Nina assisted the caterers in organizing the flowers, setting the tables, and selecting the music for the evening. The old estate buzzed with activity, and she felt a warm glow at the sight of Grandpa Gray's enthusiasm for it all. On the day of the event, Nina donned a simple yet elegant pastel green dress, thoughtfully selected to harmonize with the hue of Grandpa Gray's new jade bracelet. She secured her hair with a delicate jade clip, a thoughtful gift from Lucas the previous evening. As guests filled the yard, the atmosphere buzzed with a lively spirit. Joyful sounds filled the air, mingling voices and the cheerful tinkle of glassware. Lucas emerged from a sleek black SUV, having arrived slightly late from a business meeting. He donned a fitted suit, his tie casually loosened, striking a balance between ease and sophistication, exuding a sense of calm assurance as he embraced Grandpa Gray with a gesture of respect. All eyes widened in surprise as they noticed just how near he was to Nina. It was widely believed that she was unattached. Whispers of rumors danced through the air. Who is that stunning gentleman accompanying Nina? Is that not Lucas King, the billionaire? Hold on, what's happening? Iris Lane was present as well, having cleverly secured an invitation through a few shared connections. She nearly sputtered on her champagne upon the shocking revelation that Nina was the one hosting the party with Lucas right there beside her. She made an effort to blend in, yet Nina noticed her hovering at the periphery of the crowd, radiating an unmistakable sense of unease. Not long after the festivities began, Nina excused herself to fetch additional napkins from the kitchen. As she made her way, she encountered Iris by a side table brimming with an array of desserts. The complexion of the other woman shifted to an unusual hue of pink. Nina felt a sense of unease wash over her as Iris approached with a fidgety demeanor, her eyes flitting about anxiously. "Hey," Iris said, her voice rigid, avoiding Nina's eyes. "Wishing your grandpa a wonderful birthday celebration. I simply wanted to express that." Reflecting on that day at Jade Pavilion. "Perhaps I pushed the boundaries a bit too much." Nina came to a halt. Iris' pride was evident, clashing with her momentary effort to express regret. She lingered, allowing the quiet to expand. Iris took a moment to clear her throat. "I had no idea you were. I mean, had I known you were truly married to Lucas King, I wouldn't have." "Can you believe they actually ridiculed me?" Nina completed it for her, maintaining a neutral tone throughout. "Is your regret solely based on my husband's identity?" Iris' eyes shimmered with unease. "Honestly, there's no need to phrase it like that. I simply..." At times, we express ourselves impulsively in the midst of intense emotions. Nina observed Iris intently for a moment. "You and your friends exchanged some harsh words. It extends beyond that single day. You formed opinions about me regarding my financial situation. Even if I weren't married to Lucas, it still wouldn't be acceptable." Iris' lips pressed together, yet she appeared uncertain, struggling to find a retort. At last, she let out a grunt. "All right. I apologize, okay? I crossed a boundary." With a frown directed at the plate of Pitta's fours on the table, she muttered, "Enjoy your party," and rushed away. Nina took a deep breath, releasing the stress of that interaction. A faint sense of resolution washed over her, though it was far from complete. At times, an apology serves not to create a new bond, but rather to dissolve existing hostility. As the night unfolded, Grandpa Gray shared a few heartfelt words. "I appreciate everyone for being here. He commended Nina for her consideration, showcasing the jade bracelet on his wrist for everyone to admire. The audience erupted in applause. Lucas stood beside Nina, a gentle smile on his face, always mindful not to eclipse Grandpa Gray's special moment. Moments later, in a softly illuminated corner of the yard, Lucas grasped Nina's hand and held it tenderly. She nestled against him, allowing the vibrant chaos of the party to envelop them. "I appreciate all that you've done," she whispered. "I feel an immense sense of relief now, simply being here, after all that chaos at Jade Pavilion." He gently ran his thumb along her knuckles. "You will never have to confront that solitude again," he whispered, his voice steady with resolve. A trace of laughter surfaced within her. "Perhaps it would be a good idea to acquire a collection of simple attire for you. Imagine strolling through the streets unnoticed, observing the treatment of unsuspecting patrons in those upscale boutiques." Lucas's lip curled slightly. "I would likely reveal my true identity the instant I attempted to use an unmarked black card for payment. However, it's an alluring concept." They remained in that moment, the warmth between them deepened by the understanding that they had triumphed over yet another harsh encounter with bias. Nina understood that although the day started with embarrassment in an upscale shop, it concluded with Grandpa Gray's joyful smile, Lucas beside her, and a feeling of victory. Not due to her marriage to a billionaire, but because she maintained her dignity and understood that she was worthy of respect. All participated, no matter the number of zeros that adorned their bank accounts. As the evening wore on and the final guests departed, Nina and Lucas found themselves in the foyer, their shoulders gently touching. Grandpa Gray slumbered peacefully in his recliner. The jade beads linger on his wrist. Nina's smile widened as she observed him. "I believe I selected the ideal present for him," she murmured softly. Lucas gave a slight nod. "You accomplished that. The greatest present, however, is your presence, sharing in the celebration with him." He extended his hand, intertwining their fingers. "Your ability to make those around you feel valued is truly remarkable." She gripped his hand firmly. "I feel fortunate to have you in my life." He parted his lips, ready to speak, but Nina gently placed a finger on his mouth, a smile gracing her face. "This week has been filled with more than enough drama. Let us embrace the gratitude for this evening." He returned the smile, their eyes meeting in the quiet of the foyer. Nothing further needs to be expressed. In the stillness, Nina sensed a flicker of hope that the Jade Pavilion debacle would awaken greater awareness. Perhaps, with Lucas's involvement, there would be a reduction in the number of customers overlooked by impolite managers. Perhaps the team would come to understand that every individual merits an equal opportunity regardless of the simplicity of their attire or the limitations of their finances. She averted her gaze from those musings, allowing a sense of peace to envelop her. Tomorrow will present additional challenges. Life has always had its way. Yet they would confront them side by side. If this story resonated with you, feel free to give that like button a tap. Share your reflections on the matter. Pass it along to someone who could benefit from it. And do consider subscribing for more stories that will leave you breathless with anticipation. Until we meet again.